We all have our desired life path, but then we also have the honest one. And what I really, 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 really want to do and tune into in this life is the honest one. And the way to do that is getting quiet enough to even know what intuitive things you're supposed to be putting in your body and you're supposed to be surrounding yourself with in your environment. Hello, I have invested in this. So that lets you know that shit gonna get serious. Okay? Okay. I want to talk about so many things, but something that I want to talk about right now is dreams. I have been working with dreams since I was 4 years old. Started having this reoccurring dream when I was four, and that led to my fascination with closing my eyes. I used to skip hanging out with friends and like making friends in general because all I wanted to do in my grade school years when I was younger was lock myself in my room and read fiction books and go to bed on time so I could go meet my friends in the dream world. And not much has changed. I have seen maybe like three people in the last month. I've read some books and I have gone to bed so I can dream. So, pretty much who you are as a child is who you are as an adult. Some people, as a child, are like athletes and like whatever, pop stars, or they want to be like an astronaut or a lawyer. I just wanted to write dreams. And so, you know what? That makes me not financially stable, but it does make me have a lot of notebooks. And that's worth something for my future generation. Am I right? Because it's not like they can look back in the future and be like, oh, let me look through mom's bank statements, grandma's bank statements, and all the people that she arrested when and fought for when she was a lawyer. No, they're gonna look through my dream journals and be like, damn, grandma was fucking insane. No wonder she gone. No wonder she died in that fire that she lit. Grandma was a little, but she cool. She might have been onto something. And so basically, that's what some of this channel is gonna be about me doing dream analysis and talking about my dreams and maybe give you a little insight on your dreams. Here we go. So last night I had a dream where I was walking through, and I guess, okay, so the beginning of this is going to be about meat and a little bit about veganism. I don't want to go down the full trail of my thoughts on this right now, but let's just say I've been on an interesting ride when it comes to how I personally feel about eating meat, um, or being more plant based slash vegetarian. And it's been an interesting past few years on this journey. I have been on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. I've been full vegan and I've been full omnivore. Full vegan worked for me mentally, and I was the healthiest looking I had ever been. However, I was also like 98 pounds, and that did not feel good to me. And that had I had to later like dismantle some ideas on what it really meant to look a certain way. Um, and if I even care so much about how I look, or if I just want meat on my bones because that potentially attracts a partner. And so playing around with that idea has been of great importance to me. And then there's also like the spiritual aspect of it. If meat aligns with the spiritual aspect of my being and morality, then you take the environmental aspect into it. And so this has been something I've been toying with for several years. And recently, back in April, it's almost July now, I went to a retreat center and all the meals were sattvic, which is basically vegetarian, following some simple rules and individual body complex types. And I really liked it. And it made me feel really light and good and happy. I felt mentally fit. I felt physically strong, and I felt spiritually open. My meditations were the most profound they've been since I was fully vegan. And it just really, really resonated with the path that I've been on. And so since then, I have not eaten any red meat. I have drank chicken broth and I eat the occasional fish. I eat eggs every morning, which I know typically falls into the vegetarian based diet. However, that one feels a little tricky to me because it all depends on how the chickens are being raised at the farm that you get your eggs from. And so I said that I wasn't going to go into that, but I went into that deeper than I was planning to because I guess I'm just passionate about it or something. Anywho, so I'm about to get my, the full moon is coming, so I'm about to get my woman business. And with that comes like, I be getting cranky. And I take zinc supplements. I also supplement zinc into the food that I eat. However, being vegetarian, you have to really learn what nutritional value you need to get from certain foods because meat does have nutritional value that the body really likes and needs. You can get that in other food or supplements, but you have to do a little bit of research. Um, and so, entering being back into vegetarianism for the past few months, I've had to play around with some things and I'm a little bit copper deficient right now. And so, being I'm about to be on my moon, I got some beef bone broth because I knew my body was like, I just kept craving the taste of red meat. And I didn't know if that was coming from desire or if that was coming from my body genuinely, intuitively telling me, like, no, we need some replenishment and nourishment from red meat. And so rather than diving fully into getting red meat, I just got some beef bone broth. I wanted to see how that would feel. Morally, it's never aligned with me since I was a little girl. I care about animals so much, and I know all the environmentalists who are leaning on the aspect of it's okay to kill animals because the environment needs it, otherwise there would be an overpopulation, etc., etc. I understand. However, it just doesn't feel right to me. And that's okay. It doesn't have to. Everybody's different. And I just really have this strong connection with animals and I just want to love them and I don't want to hurt them. I really don't. And so I got beef bone broth and last night I drank it and I was immediately followed by this dream where it's been 8 minutes and I've been talking about going into this dream and I haven't even touched it. And also I'm gonna just talk about something else for a minute before we go into the dream. Okay, so every time I eat red meat, I have these weird dreams about like ancient animals, what they looked like before humans evolved, and how we used to work in unison and all of the things. And when I was at this retreat center, I got bit by a Lone Star tick. Now, if anybody knows what a Lone Star tick is, it's this tiny little tick with usually a white dot on its back. And one of the things it's known to cause is a allergen to red meat. Now, the tick didn't stay on me long enough for that to be of any problem. However, I look at the symbolism in a lot of things in life, and that to me was like, okay, word, life, you don't want me to eat red meat. I'm gonna listen. So I've been listening. Last night, I drank beef bone broth to also try to listen to my intuitive body's needs. And I had this dream that I was in this market in Mexico. While I was in this market in Mexico, I was walking down one of the aisles and I see these tiny little cows. They're full grown to what they were full grown to be in my dream, but they were like so tiny. And there was just a few of them, like all cramped up in this like area where you could just, it's like a bag of chips, like you just, the chips are all cramped up in an area. You go and pick one out one afternoon, you get your chip, throw it in the cart, go home, munch. The cows were just in this like cramped up little area, and you can go just like pick a cow up, put it in your cart. And people do this. Like they picked up the cow, put it in their cart to take home, kill it, and eat it. I was looking at it and I was like, the fuck? I was just stunned. I was shocked. I was like, what? How is that okay? So weird. And then right next to the live ones, they had packaged frozen ones. But you know how when we purchase our meat, it's typically cleaned? The fur, the outer skin, is cut off. They weren't in this dream. It was the full cow. Like you do the whole thing yourself. So you had options. And I just remember looking at these things and thinking, how bizarre. I don't like this. It does not feel good in my body. I'm going to put an end to this. But in my dream, I didn't have enough money to put an end to this because I was like, I'm going to buy all the cows and I'm going to free them. But I couldn't. I didn't have any money. So I just looked at the cows and I was like, I'll be back for you, baby. Let me get my shit together. I'm just a broke little girl bouncing around in Mexico right now. I go to the checkout line, and at the checkout line, there's some people there who are checking out with me. Behind me, I got a whole line of people, my old classmates, a crush that I be crushing on in real time. Um, and it's all these people who I've always felt this desire to inspire, partially for a need of my very human need for validation that comes from an unhealthy place that I'm working on, but also it's there. I'm learning, I'm human. And then there's also the part of me that wants to inspire people just because I want to be somebody who something I've really learned in this life is like you can't save anybody. Everybody's in charge of their own shit. However, you can be someone who is so capable of change, and so capable of goodness. And not only are you capable, but you withhold that and you implement that into your life and you share that with people. And that inspires people to then save or change themselves. And so the people in this dream were a representation of that, both my need for validation and both my need for me to want to be someone who's inspiring so people can wake up and change and save themselves. And they were watching me in this line I'm checking out, and this family ahead of me grabs this tiny little red marble cherry and places it on their head. Suddenly, my sister's there and she does the same thing. Now, none of y'all are going to know this, or me really, because I am just starting out on this channel. And so I'm not going to give you a full backstory of my relationship with my sister right now, but to say it in short, we don't have the best relationship. And so I've been having dreams of her lately, and seeing her in my dreams is just of great significance. And so maybe if you're watching this, that might be of relevance to you. And so maybe you might find a little juice in this dream. I don't know. But this family places the tiny little glass marble cherry on their head, and then they walk. And they're walking off a cliff. At the end of this cliff is a portal door. And my sister places the cherry on her head and follows them. I follow her. And all the people in the crowd are like rooting for me. They're like, yeah, go Brooke, we're so proud of you. And I'm like doing all these like cool dance moves, trying to be a little show off because I've always been very performative. I love performing and making people laugh. And so I was like, like, oh, get it. And they were like cheering me on. I was like, yeah, get it. Okay, I'm going. See ya. Bye. I go to the edge of this cliff, but note, everybody's putting this glass cherry on the top of their heads. I'm like, I don't want the glass cherry. I'm good. I'm not going to follow everybody else. So I don't take a glass cherry. But I do walk off the cliff. So technically, I did follow everybody else. Anyways, blue portal door. There's like white writing on it that's giving me the FAQs and the info into walking in this and potential warnings. I'm like, fuck it, I trust. And so I go, don't read any of it. I just go through the portal door and I'm like, whoosh. I land on this sandy ocean area. It's very Washington-esque where I'm from, very Oregon-esque where I'm from, very luscious nature, chill vibes, lake, beachfront, trees, rocks, bushes in the background, whatever. And I land, and the little boy part of the family is like playing in the water, and the dad is like, "You made it. Congrats." And I'm like, "Where's my sister?" And he's like, "Did she take the cherry?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, she's probably dead." And I was like, "Okay." And I get this visual of what happened to my sister. Like, suddenly, like, in my mind's eye, I go from being on the beach to observing where my sister's at now, and she's back in the market, but she has an alfalfa on her head. It's like, alfalfa? She got an alfalfa on her head. And I zoom into the alfalfa and I see the whole backstory of how it got there. And basically, what happened is if you walked into the portal with a cherry on your head, when you entered the portal and got to the beach, all your skin would start sagging off. And like at the open ends of your skin, they would be exposed, and like your blood and guts would start rushing out. And so, yeah, I don't know what you might have thought coming into this story so far. You're like, oh, cool, she's got dreams about portals. Yeah, I do, but I also have dreams about like gore. And so there's going to be gore in this. I probably should have prefaced that. I didn't. But there you go. And so I'm like watching my sister's skin all sag off and fall off, and like gravity is tugging her and it's like peeling her and melting her into the ground. But she's a fighter. So she's like, no, you're not going to get me. She picks up her skin and she dives into the ocean. And at the bottom of the ocean, there's a portal, like a hidden portal. And she just knows it's there. She accesses it. But this portal is like a really dangerous portal to go into. It's a portal back into the market, but it's definitely one of the more like sketchy, dangerous portals where not everybody survives. And so she goes into the portal, but the portal like has these laser beams. And when she enters the portal, she specifically places the end of her saggy flaps in the laser beam part of the portal, and it sears off and closes their openness from gushing blood. And then she's like peeling her head over her body to tighten it so it's not saggy when she goes back, and it makes an alfalfa. I don't know. All this other stuff happened. Eventually, like, I'm back in the market and all my friends are cheering for me. They're like, "Yeah, you made it." And I'm like, all humble and shit. I'm like, "Okay, let me just check out my grocery items now." And so I go stand in the grocery aisle line again, and at the top again, now I see canned cows. It's like sippable cow juice, but they're in cans, and they're alive, but they're not alive because they're inanimate cans. And I just place my hand over them and I like give a prayer. I'm like, "I'm gonna save you, baby. Don't worry. I can't afford you right now, but I'm gonna save you." And right as I'm about to check out, I look at my sister who turns into a little boy, and I go sit next to her. I'm like, "Can I get you anything? Like, are you okay?" And as the little boy, she answers me and she's like, "Can I get ice cream? I'm not doing okay right now." I was like, "Yes, we can get you ice cream." Noted earlier in the dream, I didn't have enough money to buy myself the groceries that I wanted. I didn't have enough money to buy the cows. I didn't have enough money to buy all the shit that I wanted. And like when I go grocery shopping, I like shit. I'm a foodie. I'm a healthy foodie too, so you know that bill be racking. And I go to the back with her slash him and buy her some ice cream. And I had just enough money to buy the ice cream. And it was really sweet. And buy her some ice cream. And then I like rocket shoot myself to the top of this train to check out. None of that made any sense to you. It makes a lot of sense to me. And so the storyline, yeah, it's a little all over the place, like I am with my life and with this entire video. I don't even know what's going to happen with this video. It might just go into my drafts forever. But basically, to me, the dream represented my genuine life path towards being non harm towards animals. And that's just who I am. That's who I want to be. Whether that lasts for the rest of my life or even for the next month or year is none of my business. But what is my business is that I feel passionate about it right now. And so I'm going to follow it because intuitively I know that's what's meant for me. And the thing about this, which I also said I wasn't going to get into earlier, but I am because I'm clearly very passionate about it, I think that there are several different aspects when it comes to being vegetarian slash vegan or not and eating meat. And it all comes down to the intuitive aspect of it and your desired life path. And not only your desired life path, but like your honest life path. Yes, we all have a desired one. Like my desired one is like, I want to be a pop star, but also at the same time, I don't want all paparazzi eyes on me. I want to be able to go hide in a cave and be a mystic in the jungle and that be just my life. But also at the same time, I want to like be a dancer. Yeah, I dance, but I can't choreography sure for shit. I can't even pronounce the word. And so, we all have our desired life path, but then we also have the honest one. And what I really, 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 really want to do and tune into in this life is the honest one. And the way to do that is getting quiet enough to even know what intuitive things you're supposed to be putting in your body and you're supposed to be surrounding yourself with in your environment, meaning like friends, places to live, jobs, ideas, things you listen to, people you listen to, and then food wise, what you're eating, your daily routine, your movement practice, all of the things have to be so designed and tailored to your unique life path and person that is most honest to you. And what's most honest to me is being someone who does not eat meat, and that is totally okay. It doesn't resonate with me. There have, however, been seasons of my life where I have been purely primal and on earth, where I have been actively participating in extreme sports like soccer, track, dance, movement of the sort, running, high cardio, etc., and weights, lifting. My body genuinely prefers eating meat in those seasons when I am more devoted to being on earth. But those seasons are always so temporary for me. They never last. I burn them out because I always come back to this season, which is just being like a little mystic in a pashmina who records her dreams in the mornings and, sips on tea and occasionally burns Palo Santo when she takes a break from her neurodivergency and remembers to burn Palo Santo because that's what the spiritual people say to do. And so I think the core of it, when it comes down to it, is lessening the grip on the judgment of what's right and wrong when it comes to eating meat or being vegan slash vegetarian, whatever. And just listening to what's most honest for you. We'll figure out the truth at some point. Like what's most true for our human evolution, we'll get there. But I think we get so finger pointy at everybody else to have the truth figured out because we want to be there. But the thing is, in order to get there, you have to go through a period of silence to even find out what's most honest for you. The truth isn't going to be figured out by reading an intellectual book on whether meat is right or wrong or veganism is right or wrong. The truth is going to be discovered by you intuitively tuning into your body, your spiritual life path, your physical life path, and your needs. That's the only way the truth will ever be discovered, not by the talk, talk of somebody else. And so, yeah, maybe sit with yourself and ask yourself, like, have I spent enough time in my body and in my heart to even know what really works for me? If you go long seasons of eating a lot of meat and you find it difficult to connect to a spiritual practice or your intuition or an environment or lifestyle or friendships that works for you, maybe take a little break from eating meat and explore being a little bit lighter, letting the body and mind clear itself. And then if you decide to go back to it, great. Vice versa, if you're feeling way too light and you're feeling like you need some groundedness, maybe explore eating a little bit of meat. And then you'll figure it out as you go, what really works for you in the long term. Or maybe you're someone who's just supposed to switch. Maybe you're supposed to be a switch. That's a thing, right? Like in sexual terms. I don't know. I'm so far behind. I've been in solitude for 3 months. Anyways, yeah, that topic is very important to me because I personally feel like there's this brilliant man named Robert Monroe, and I know I've been talking about like understand yourself at the experiential level, dive into your own needs before you um, pick up things at the intellectual level, such as in books or podcasts, and make that who you are. It's important to experience the experiential side of things. And sometimes we find teachers and people and books and people that we really admire and resonate with. And for me, that's Robert Monroe. And one of the things he said, I don't know if he ate meat while he was alive, but he did talk about how his work is soul retrieval, right? And so he would astral project and go into the future, go into the now, go into the past, and perform soul retrieval. And the things that he saw and the things that he described in his book just really hit home to the things that I've seen in my dreams and the things and the truths that I feel are real. And one of the things he talks about is that the end of human evolution is somewhere in the earlier years of the 3000s. We will be a very small collective of people, and the animals will be our family. We won't have mouths, we won't need clothes, but we will be family with the animals. We won't need to eat, but we can if we so desire to, just for the pure joy of it, because it's not like we don't need to experience joy and pleasure. We absolutely can. It's when the desire becomes so strong that you begin to lose sight of what's true, that it becomes a problem, because then it harms other people. And that timeline just like felt it rings so true to me. The only reason we have mouths is because we ask so many questions because we forget we know all the answers already. And the only reason we have clothes is because we've become so disconnected from anything but our primal and emotional body that our astral and intelligent auric body feels so far from us, that we sexualize everything we see because our desire comes in front of our knowing that a human body is a human body. It's not just tits and ass and buttholes. It's a human body. That's to put it in simple terms, but to put it in sacred terms, it's a sacred divine vessel. And to sexualize it is to forget that it is beyond the physical and primal. But that's where we are right now for a lot of people, and that's okay. We'll get there. And so I just want to get on that train. You know, that feels really resonant to me. I know, like, yeah, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now, as a lot of us know, a lot of dark things. And something that meat does to me when I eat it is it makes me feel connected to those dark things. Because meat, when you think about it, is a heavy substance. It doesn't really touch the sun. The outer skin touches the sun. Plants touch the sun. But meat kind of just rots inside of the body, especially when it's dead and then you eat it. And the energy of something that doesn't touch the sun is by nature of darkness. Not to put a dark label on it, but literally, not just metaphorically, literally, it is hidden from the sun in darkness. And that makes us a bit heavier when we eat it. And like I said, sometimes we need a little bit of weight, not just physically, but like emotionally, mentally. We need a little bit of groundedness. We need a little bit of that darkness, um, to ground us into this physical realm and relate to one another and be here, be present, be now. But I don't know, when I eat meat, I feel depressed. When I eat meat, I feel disconnected from my spirituality. When I eat meat, I feel more tuned into the primal physical fear of war and uncertainty and fear of the unknown and that collective bubble that I don't want to be in, the collective bubble that people are trying to pop I liked that. Wonder how that sounded for you in this little thing that I'm testing out. And that's my take on it. I don't know what else to say about that right now, other than I had no idea that that's where this was going. But yeah, things that we're passionate about, we get on videos and talk about it and then share it with other people. And so, like I said earlier, find what resonates with you. Don't just listen to me and be like, oh, this girl has it figured out. I got 1 subscriber and it's me on my other channel. Like, not that that amounts to my worthiness of being heard and listened to, but I'm just saying, like, I might have a thing figured out or two. I also might not have any idea what I'm talking about, and I could belong in a menstrual institution. Menstrual institution. Everybody just bleeds. Um, but I'm not. I'm on a chair talking about stuff. What is she talking about? Anyways, baby girl. Yeah, take it into your own experiential practice, really spend some time. I know I'm so grateful for the life that I've built for myself. And no, it didn't come easy. And I'm not talking like I've got a boat and I've got a car. I don't have either of those things. My car got crashed into 9 months ago, and I haven't had a car since. The life that I have right now keeps me out of the collective stress of working a 9 to 5 and having all my energy poured into things that don't allow me the space and freedom to even dive into asking these questions, and having a spiritual practice that I'm so dedicated and devoted to, and that I have the time to practice, energy to practice. A lot of people are in the rat race, especially people who live in the city, especially people who have families. Like, you're trying to make money so you can provide for yourself and potentially others, and that's not easy. I'm very lucky to have only myself to provide for right now. I'm on a travel timeline right now. I sold most of my things. I didn't get a new car because I didn't want anything to be attached to. I rehomed my very beloved cats because I didn't want anything to stop me from following this path, which is most honest to me. And the only reason that I'm here is because I had the time to even ask questions of what it means to be honest to me. And so, that being said, however you can work into your schedule what's most honest for you, I really hope that you do that, because I don't know, if you look at the world and the way things are going right now, I don't feel afraid, but I know a lot of people do. I feel worried, I feel concerned. It's scary to think that we're living in corrupt times and that we might have to go through some even harder times, like a lot of people in other places of the world go through on a daily basis. We're very privileged here in America. Um, some of us, not all of us, the majority of us are very privileged to not know what it's like to have war. And so the idea of things turning very dark is scary. Um, and so I don't know why I went there, but I'm gonna tie it back in because I'm gonna remember why I went there by looking at this bird that's sitting on the fence. Okay, hey bird, tell me what I was thinking and talking about. I don't know who I am anymore. Basically, I know it's easy to get in that fear spiral, which also takes a lot of energy. But I really, really hope that you find time and dedication, no matter how hard and sticky and tricky it might be sometimes, to sit down in silence with yourself and like find out what's truly honest with you, whether that speaks to terms of your environment and where you live, people you're friends with, people you want to be friends with. What kind of people do you want to surround yourself with? What kind of conversations do you want to be having? What kind of food do you want to be eating? What kind of lifestyle do you want to be living? And not only want, not only desire, but what would be the most healthiest and optimal timeline for you. And I really, really hope that you give yourself the opportunity to go there, because the energy will rise, the fear will be no more, and the path will be so honest and moral and aligned, even if it's hard for a bit. And yeah, so I guess I'll leave that there. Again, this video has no judgment on whatever lifestyle you prefer, whether that be eating meat or not eating meat. I just have to speak on behalf of what's most honest for me, and right now that is not eating meat, because I feel lighter and happier and like I'm doing my life path in honor. I really want to work with animals, and the way that I can feel most connected to them is by honoring their existence and not harming them. And that's just for me, and that's okay. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I hope you take the time to take care of yourself, and I really hope that you get to live a life that's most honest for you, because reincarnation or not, you're you right now. And you ain't getting any younger, honey pie. I see them wrinkles, but they're beautiful. Don't do nothing about them. They're beautiful. Or do something about them. Who gives a fuck? Anyways, I love you, and I'm rooting for you. Mad love.